Hello, everyone. It's good to see you all again, and welcome to Talking After Dark. Let's call this segment Dating Without Rules. Dating without rules, what does that mean? It means just that. There are no rules. There was once in a time when dating was specific and it was done in such a way that your dad, your grandfather, your mother, your grandmother had a lot to do with the processes of dating. A gentleman caller would come to your house, and before taking you anywhere, they had to meet your dad. And when they met your dad laid out the rules, and he made the governing authority over your relationship and who you were going to date. And he would tell you instantly or immediately whether or not that the gentleman caller was somebody he thought that you should see again, or whether or not this person was right for you. And your grandfather played a role in that too, because your father mimicked the actions that he saw his grandfather perform for his sisters and others, females in their lives. I mean, if a guy wasn't willing to come to your house and meet your dad, or even if he did and he decided at some point that you guys were going to get married, you wasn't going to get married unless your dad and your grandfather agreed upon you marrying this particular individual. And they would have to come to the house and even go to church with you guys on Sundays. Sometimes, especially if his family didn't go to church or her family didn't go to church, they would expect that person to go to church with you on Sunday at some point if they were serious about a relationship with you and serious about being married to you. But what they did do, that they constructed your dating habits and abilities to date according to scripture, according to plans. The guy would have to, or the female would have to come over to the house. They would have to meet everyone. Occasionally, they would come over like on Saturdays or Sundays or weekends and have dinner with the family. They would go places with the family and do things with the family, so that their demeanor, their attitudes, their dispositions, their ways was all known by the family, because they would spend that kind of time together. And, which was absolutely a great thing to happen, because it took a lot of the pressure off the male and the female child who was trying to get into the dating game, because mom and dad pretty much controlled the income and outcomings of the relationship, because they would tell you that you would dress a certain way, you will wear a certain thing on certain dates, that if a guy did this or a girl did that, those were clear indicators that they will probably not be a good candidate for you. They gave you rules and governing principles about how to relate to the other person in that relationship, and how to govern yourself accordingly, how to act like a lady, how to act like a gentleman, and just how to perform to the best of your abilities. And to the best of your abilities meant representing your family's name in the best possible way. So what happens today is none of that. No, absolutely none of that. When young ladies first start dating, they meet a guy at school or at a party or something, and they talk on the phone, and the guy would ask them to go meet somewhere. Matter of fact, they don't even ask. They say, look, a couple of us are going to the movies. Tell your mom, tell your dad, bring you to the theater with your girlfriends, and we'll meet you at the theater, or we'll meet you at the mall, and that's what they do. That's what the younger kids do. The grown folks, they meet somebody that they like, and the next thing you know, they go out to dinner. They talk, they communicate on the first date. The second date, they might go eat again, or take a walk in the park, or go to a party, or something like that. But there's no structure. There are no rules. There's no anything. You just on a whim. You go and you do these things with these people that you're trying to get to know, hoping for the best results and the best outcomes, and thinking that you are going to make the best decisions about the people that you choose to spend your time with. And a lot of time, as this has gone on, we have found out that we have spent more time and had more conversations with their representatives than we had with them. Because the real them either never shows up, or shows up so sparingly that you never get to know who that person is. And outside of that, you spend a lot of time trying to figure out just who the hell you talking to. You know, one minute the person is this way and the next minute they're the other way. And you're totally baffled by the idea that you're in a relationship with somebody that you don't even know. So at some point we have to ask ourselves, why are we dating? What's the reasons for that? Or what are we looking for in the dating process? Who are we looking for? There has to be some expectation of the type of person that you know that you want to be with. This particular channel here, Talking After Dark, we're talking about adults. We're not talking about children. We're talking about adults. We're talking about people over the age of 40, 50 years old. People who, by this age, surely should know what type of relationship that they want to be in. They should know what type of person that they're looking for. They should know the reasons why they are looking for a relationship and what are the expectations from the person that they're looking for. I think that it doesn't take long for us to figure out whether or not we date a person one time, whether or not we want to see this person again. It doesn't take long for us to realize that just the things that we see, the red flags that we see, which are not always indicators that you should just run and hide, but red flags are certainly an indication for communication. When you see red flags, because we're quite different. I'm different from you, you different from me. We had different upbringings, different backgrounds. So everything is not an opportunity to run. However, it is an opportunity to communicate. I think that sometimes, a lot of times in the dating processes, that we really forget to ensure that people understand what that looks like to us, what we are looking for, what are our expectations. We spend too much time giving people time and opportunity to prove us wrong. I say to prove us wrong because I think that we all want to give everybody the benefit of doubt. We all want to believe that everybody's good and that every situation is not a good situation. Sometimes people are nice guys, a nice girl, they really mean well, they have good intentions, but they're just not for you. It doesn't mean that you can't be friends with them. It doesn't mean that you have issues with them. It just means that somewhere in the process that that person is probably better suited, a better fit for someone else, and certainly not you. And that's not always a negative thing. It's just the truth of the matter is that you guys are just probably best at being friends, and hopefully that each of you can amicably accept that and just move forward. And if you're able to maintain a friendship from that and able to continue to communicate and be friends with each other, then that's fine too. But if that is not the case, then you can certainly say that you tried. But the most important thing about it is that you didn't waste their time and you didn't waste your time, which is the most important thing. Certainly at this age in our lives, we want to be able to spend time where we need to spend time and not spend time where we don't need to be. That way we're not wasting anybody's time, ours or theirs. I think one of the things that we fail to recognize is that because we don't have those father figures in our lives or those mother figures in our lives where they have spent those worlds of times in telling us about what we should be looking for and what the dating game looks like and what we should be doing and the type of guys we should be looking for, the type of girls we should be looking for. A lot of that gets away from us and has gotten away from us because for men, I would say that most of us didn't spend time with our fathers, and our fathers never told us or showed us about how to properly date a girl or how to properly seek or go after a girl or what type of girl was best for us. They didn't tell us about how we should dress and what is the expectation when we go over to a young lady's house to pick her up on it. Nowadays, people don't pick anybody up. They generally, well, I'll meet you here or I'll meet you there. It's crazy. There are just no rules out here today that governs the processes of dating except those that are set by you. And usually those rules come about because you find out that you've made plenty of mistakes. You made mistakes in judgment about the type of guy or girl that you were looking for. You made mistakes about judging people for who you thought they were and not who they really were. You made mistakes by expecting too much and not enough. You made mistakes by assuming that because somebody drove a nice car that, that was all it took. They had a nice job and had a nice car, and that made them a great suitor for you. I don't think so. You made mistakes because you thought that money was everything, that a guy had to make a certain kind of money or a girl had to make a certain kind of money to desire to be in a relationship with them. All mistakes. And I'm sure for those of you that have made those things top of your list for selecting the right person for your relationship, you find out that that's really not the case. What really is the case and should be the case is that you have found someone that treats you the way that you want and need to be treated. They respect you, they adore you, they admire you, they support you, they protect you, they provide for you, and that they give to you the things that you want and need. And not just that, but you feel that way about them in return. That you guys are actually great supporters for each other. You guys have this spark and this energy with each other that sets your heart on high for each other, because you're not fixed on the things that really don't matter. Your concern are the things that I just talked about, those things that makes a person more idealistic for you than somebody based upon fallacies, based upon the idea that just because they had a good job or made good money or dressed really well made them a great candidate for you. I beg to differ. Those are not. And because you go into these relationships with these type of people thinking that it's going to work out because they do those things, good job, dress really well, known by, that's not it. I think that when you reach this age, knowing what you know, the mistakes that you've made, habits that you've formed, judgments that you've made concerning people that were totally wrong in thought processes and just are wrong for you, you will find that when you just chill out and when you just think about what's really important, when you think about what that looks like to God and to your family and to your friends, when you think about what that looks like in your life going forward, whether or not this person adds value to your life, whether or not this person is there for you when you need them to be. Not that you're looking for somebody to spend a world of money or you or spend a world of time with you, but you're looking for somebody that wants to be there, that's willing to give up themselves, willing to give up their time, willing to give up their resources, willing to be there consistently, and that their actions are consistent in turn. That everything that they say and do lines up with their actions. They're not just talking fluff. They're not just having conversations because they want to have sex or they want to add another notch to their belt or they, for some other reason that just is not real. It doesn't take long for you to figure that out, whether or not a person is sincere about you. And again, we have to remember that we don't discard red flags. We use those red flags as indicators to have conversations. But you have to remember that how a person treats you, how they make you feel, how they are with other people, how they are with the other people that are important in their lives, how they are around their friends, how they are around your friends, all of those things should matter. All of those things. And you wonder why people are married nowadays 30 and 40 years and the relationships are being lost, that they're separating and divorcing. There's a reason for that. It's not like it just happened. It didn't just happen. There was a process. Something happened then, something happened later, something happened again, and they didn't take care of those things. They just let those things take care of themselves. They let those things manifest into something that didn't produce great fruit, a good fruit. So you have to be able to be capricious, to be able to change, to be able to change as the relationship changes. And it's going to change because people grow up, and as people get older, their requirements change. Their requirements are different. They need something different. They desire something different. They need you to support them in something different. You guys can still agree to disagree and still not let that affect your relationship. You still have to do the work. Too many times, too many people fail to continue to do the work. They allow their relationships to govern themselves. They just think that everything is going to work out. Everything's going to be okay. Well, that's my husband, that's my wife, that's my boyfriend, that's my girlfriend. They understand me. They know what I need. They know, but your needs change. They do. And sometimes they change, and we fail to discuss those things with the people that are most important to us in our lives. And we expect them to figure it out. They shouldn't have to figure it out. We should be able to have conversations with them about what's really important and what their expectations really are as we change and as we desire different things in our lives. And a lot of times this happens in the area of physicality, of sex. You know, you get yours and she get hers and vice versa, and it just doesn't happen. And you're great with the relationship, but the sex is horrible. It's not growing. It's not producing good fruit. It's not happening like you want it to. You finish the process and you feel like you're still not satisfied. You're ready to smoke a cigarette or go eat a hot dog or whatever that might be, but you're unsatisfied, you're unfulfilled, and you're just allowing it to go. You can't do that. You can't allow anything to just go. You have to talk about these things. You have to tell these people what's important to you. You have to tell your significant others about what's bothering you, what's happening in your relationship, what's keeping you from growing, what's keeping you from operating in your best spirit, in your best performance. You always want to be able to give people what they need to be able to give you what you need from them. And the only way to do that is to never lose the ability or opportunity to communicate. We have to communicate with each other always about everything. And there are no loopholes, and there's no thought processes where we just feel like we don't have to tell you anything. We don't have to tell you everything. We don't have to communicate. That's so not true. And that's a result of the statistics that we face today, that why relationships are not working. We take each other for granted too much. We really do. The old ways seem to be sometimes a little archaic or a little different or indifferent than the way we operate today. But those were the best ways, because we held people accountable for their actions, for their deeds. We realized that every situation required a different situation, a different opportunity from you to perform in a different way. Some women don't mind taking out the trash if you're not there. Some women have a problem with that. All women don't like pumping gas in their car and will wait for you to do it. All men don't like fixing their own food. All men don't like being at home. It's just so many things that could make a difference and be a problem in your relationship. But what I'm suggesting to you is that whatever those things are, whatever those things look like, don't fail to have the conversation with your significant other that is going to support your feelings, that is going to allow you to be fair with your partner and tell them what's going on. Tell them what they need to know so that you guys are on the same page about everything. There's no illusions. There's no disagreeing about things that you guys can clearly communicate about. I think that, far too many times we believe that the people that we're connected with, they understand when we don't feel good, we feel bad, or we feel some kind of way about something, and just because they don't communicate don't mean that there's a problem. It just means they just need some time and space to themselves, to think for themselves, about the job, about work. They need to come home and relax for a minute, chill for a minute, get back into the group. There are just things in our relationships that we take for granted, but we should be able to communicate about those things and not get mad when we disagree, not feel like we have to feel some kind of way because we disagree. We are going to disagree on things. We're going to move and function differently when we feel some kind of way. But it's important that you know what that is and what that looks like, so you know how to and when to interject into those spaces with your significant other so that you can provide them with what is needed from you. And all the time, it don't need to be talked to. They don't need for you to say anything. They don't need for you to do anything. They just need to know that you are there. So the dating game is going to be as hard as you make it. If you know what you want and you know what you need from someone, say it up front. Let it be known. Let it be understood by both parties, whether you're on the same page or not, whether you're looking for the same things, you have the same desires. It's like being in love with someone and you want to have a child, but they don't. It ain't going to work. It's just not going to work. Even if you tell yourself that, well, I'm going to try it anyway and I'm going to see if this works out, it ain't going to work out. You understand? You can't want a child and they not want a child, and it becomes very important to your life, and it happens or it doesn't happen, whatever side you're on, and that's okay. That's not okay. It's okay to say, well, you know what? I like you. I love you. I'm crazy about you. I wish that things were different, but obviously this is not going to work. And if that's what it is, that's what it is. So we don't need to put pressure on people. just because we want to desire something that they don't want. We just have to be able to be truthful and be honest about it and realize that perhaps this is not for us. But please, by all means, don't waste your time and don't waste anybody else's time. Be fair to them as you would want them to be to you. So all that to say that dating is something that you have to take very seriously. You have to think about what's valuable to you. You have to think about what's important to you. You have to think about what's meaningful to you. You have to think about your life in totality. What does that look like for you? Where do you want to be? Is this someone that you can trust around your kids? Is this someone you can trust with your heart? Is this someone you can trust with your life? Is this someone you can trust to protect you? Is this someone you can trust to provide for you? Is this someone that you can trust that has basic and godly principles and understands what that looks like and communicates to you in such a way that you don't feel like you're not whole in your house, that you don't want to go home because you know that there's going to be drama at the house. You find other jobs and other things to do after work so that it minimizes the amount of time that you're at home. That's crazy. That's crazy when all you have to do is to be true to yourself and be true to your partner and have these hard conversations about what that picture looks like. Dating can be as hard or it can be as easy as you want it to be if you stay true to the game. If you keep it simple, you be honest and upfront with people, and you expect them to do the same with you. I think that we can overcome this adage about relationships or just something of the past, that they don't work, there's no good people out there, there's no good men, there's no good women. That is so not true. That is so not true. But the other thing is, and one of the most important things, is that you cannot allow culture to dictate to you the outcome of your relationships. How you live in these spaces, how you function between your mate and yourself, because of what culture says or what where society is going at today in relationships and what it produces from the TV shows that you watch or the podcasts that you watch. Anybody else's reality is not yours. Your reality is just what it says, your reality. And you have to live your reality according to what's real for you. So listen, take some time. Think about what it is you want. Think about who you want it from. Think about what that looks like when it comes your way so that you'll see it when it comes. Think about how you can best receive what you need and what you want from someone by producing good fruit and being in a position to be able to give to them what might be needed from you. It's not that difficult. But here's an opportunity to share with others. Here's an opportunity for you to ask questions and make comments about what we're talking about. Please, as always, do subscribe, do share, and do like. And I look forward to receiving your comments. I look forward to opportunities that people receive from your comments and from your suggestions, and all that is going to help them to grow in their relationships and become more significant and valuable to their partners, because they have received information from you about how you manage to proceed in the dating processes. Hey, as in always, share, subscribe, and like. Talking After Dark.